Do you know why so many men feel invisible to women today, even though they work hard, dress well, and try to say the right things? It's because the game has changed. The rules you were told growing up no longer apply. Right now, as you're watching this, women are being pulled in 100 different directions. Social media, endless attention, constant validation, and more options than ever before in human history. And here you are, sitting there, trying to figure out what the secret is, why you still feel like you're on the outside looking in. I'll tell you the truth that no one else dares to say. Women don't want nice guys, and they don't want players. What they actually want is something you've been trained to suppress. You see, men have been lied to. Society told you to play safe, be agreeable, follow the rules, and eventually, the right woman would notice you. But that was advice designed to make you compliant, not attractive. Women aren't searching for a checklist husband. They're searching for a man who makes them feel. A man who makes her heart race, who forces her to see him as different from every other bland, predictable face in her inbox. That doesn't mean being arrogant or toxic. It means stepping into a version of yourself that demands respect without even saying a word. Here's what no one tells you: attraction is not logical. A woman doesn't fall for a man because he's the most responsible, or because he texts back on time, or because he showers her with compliments. She falls because he awakens something inside her that she can't control. And that's where most men fail. They think relationships are built through effort, when in reality, women are drawn through energy. If you give off the same dull, needy, predictable energy as every other man she scrolls past online, you vanish. But if you tap into what I'm about to reveal in this video, you'll never feel invisible again. Now, I want you to stop for a moment and ask yourself, when was the last time a woman looked at you like she truly desired you, not just accepted you? That question alone should make your chest tighten, because if you can't remember, then everything you thought you knew about dating is broken. And today, I'll show you what actually works in 2025. The first shift you need to understand is this: women in 2025 are no longer impressed by surface-level gestures. You can take her out to dinner, you can buy her flowers, you can even send her the sweetest good morning texts. But none of that touches her core unless she feels you at a deeper level. And most men never get there because they're too busy trying to perform instead of embodying who they really are. Women have evolved past falling for routines. They live in a world of constant dopamine, likes, DMs, attention. So if you're just another source of validation, you'll be forgotten in hours. What she craves, desperately, is something that cuts through the noise. And that something is certainty. Let me explain. A man who is certain of himself doesn't chase. He doesn't wait for permission to be bold, to speak his mind, to lead. He doesn't hesitate to walk away if something doesn't align with his standards. That certainty radiates like fire. Women can feel it the moment you step into a room. And here's the harsh truth. Most men have no fire left. They've been tamed, conditioned to apologize for wanting more, beaten down into believing their desires are toxic. But when you strip away the masks and become unapologetically certain in who you are, women can't help but be drawn in. Certainty is more attractive than money, looks, or even status. Because here's what women fear more than anything else: wasting their time on a man who doesn't know who he is, where he's going, or what he stands for. That fear is primal. And if you can be the man who erases it by showing her unshakable conviction, she'll follow you anywhere. Think about it. When you walk into a date, are you secretly hoping she likes you, or are you already certain that you will decide if she meets your standards? When you talk to her, are you carefully calculating every word so you don't mess up, or are you fully present, grounded, and speaking from a place of truth? Women know the difference instantly, and in 2025, with endless distractions around them, they will only give their heart to the man who stands out with certainty. So the question becomes, how do you develop that fire when the world has trained you to be safe, agreeable, and small? The fire doesn't come from pretending. It doesn't come from copying lines you saw online or memorizing tricks from some dating coach. That's why so many men fail. They're trying to wear a mask that doesn't fit. The fire comes from alignment, from finally stripping away the lies you've been told about what women want and reconnecting with the core of who you are as a man. You've been told to dim your edges, to soften your voice, to be less intimidating, less demanding, less ambitious, because that makes you safe. But safe isn't attractive. Safe is invisible. Safe is the friend she texts when the man she truly desires leaves her on read. And deep down, you know it. You felt it every time you played it safe and watched her drift into the arms of someone bolder, someone unapologetic. A man with fire doesn't need approval. He doesn't beg for attention. He knows what he wants, and he moves toward it with clarity. Women feel that clarity like a pulse. It unsettles them, excites them, makes them wonder what it would feel like to be consumed by it. That's the secret to attraction. It isn't built on logic, it's built on emotion. And emotion is only triggered when you stop hiding. Ask yourself this: what parts of yourself have you been hiding because you thought women wouldn't approve? Is it your ambition, your raw masculinity, your drive for more than just comfort? Every time you bury that side of you, you kill your fire. And when the fire dies, your presence disappears. She may like you, she may even respect you, but she will never desire you. Because desire is sparked by a man who refuses to shrink. And here's what makes this even more important in 2025. Women are more selective than ever before. They're constantly filtering through hundreds of men who all look the same, talk the same, act the same. The only thing that separates you is your ability to project energy she can't ignore. You can't fake it. You can't borrow it. You have to build it from the inside out. And when you do, you stop chasing women, because women start chasing you. So the real question is, are you willing to stop hiding? Most men think women want to be chased. They think the path to her heart is constant attention, constant reassurance, constant pursuit. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Women don't fall for the man who drowns them in effort. They fall for the man who makes them earn his presence. That doesn't mean playing games or acting cold. It means understanding that your value is not in how much you give, but in how much you embody. When you know your worth, you stop overcompensating. You stop texting her paragraphs when she barely replies. You stop rearranging your life for a woman who hasn't proven she deserves it. You stop becoming her fan, and instead, you become the man she feels lucky to be chosen by. This is the shift that changes everything. Stop asking, "Does she like me?" and start asking, "Does she deserve me?" Most men never flip that switch, and that's why they suffer. They put women on pedestals, treating them like prizes to be won, when in reality, the man is the prize. A woman only respects what she has to work for. If you hand her everything up front, your time, your attention, your validation, she may enjoy it, but she will never value it. Value comes from scarcity. It comes from boundaries. It comes from a man who doesn't just talk about standards, but lives by them. Think about the men women obsess over. They're not the ones sending desperate goodnight texts or asking permission to call. They're the ones who move with purpose. They're focused, driven, and unwilling to break their rhythm just to keep a woman entertained. That doesn't make them cold. It makes them magnetic. Because women feel the difference between a man who is consumed by her and a man who is consumed by his mission. And the man with a mission always wins. Here's the truth women will never say out loud. She doesn't want to be your everything. She wants to be invited into a world that's already full, already powerful, already moving. That's what excites her. That's what makes her invest. And until you build that world, you'll always feel like you're chasing instead of choosing. So ask yourself, Have you been living like a man with a mission, or a man waiting for permission? Every man secretly fears rejection. That sting of being overlooked, ignored, or dismissed, it cuts deeper than most will admit. But what if I told you rejection isn't the enemy? What if rejection is the very tool that sharpens you into the man women can't resist? The men who fail in dating are the ones who avoid rejection at all costs. They play safe, they don't take risks, they stay in the shadows. And because of that, they never grow. But the men women crave, they embrace rejection like fire. They know that every no is simply one step closer to the yes that actually matters. They're not destroyed by it because they don't tie their worth to approval. That unshakable mindset is what sets them apart in 2025. Here's the paradox women live in. They say they want a man who is confident, but confidence can only exist when you've walked through failure and kept going. A man who's never been rejected is fragile. He hides behind appearances, but the moment he's tested, he crumbles. A man who has faced rejection, who has been told he's not enough and kept building himself anyway, that man is unbreakable, and women feel it instantly. His energy is grounded, steady, unshaken by her moods or her tests. That's what draws her in. It's not perfection, it's resilience. In 2025, women are testing men more than ever, not because they're cruel, but because their options are endless. They need to know if you're built for real life or just pretending. And every time you handle rejection with grace, you prove you're different. You prove you're solid. Most men run, few men stay, and the ones who stay are the ones she can't forget. Ask yourself honestly, how do you handle rejection? Do you spiral, blame her, shut down, or give up? Or do you use it as fuel, refining yourself, sharpening your edges, becoming more certain, more aligned, more powerful? Every rejection is a filter removing the women who were never meant for you and leaving you closer to the ones who are. The man who learns this never fears rejection again. He welcomes it. Because rejection doesn't break a real man, it forges him. There's a reason why some men can walk into a room and every woman notices them without a single word being spoken. It's not luck, it's not just looks, and it's not even money. It's presence. Presence is the invisible force that makes people lean in, pay attention, and feel something before you've even opened your mouth. And in 2025, presence is the rarest and most valuable trait a man can have, because most men don't have it. They're glued to their phones, disconnected from their bodies, anxious in their energy, trying to escape themselves. And women feel that disconnection instantly. They may tolerate it, but they'll never desire it. Presence is built when you're fully grounded in the moment, not lost in thoughts, not waiting for validation, not trying to predict the outcome. It's when your energy says, I belong here, and nothing can shake me. That stillness, that calm authority, is magnetic. Women are drowning in men who are restless, insecure, and needy. But when they meet a man who is fully present, it feels like oxygen. Suddenly, she feels safe, yet electrified, relaxed, yet drawn in. That's what presence does. It awakens her. The mistake most men make is thinking presence means being loud, dominant, or constantly talking. It's the opposite. Presence is in your silence, your eye contact, the way you move slowly instead of rushing, the way you pause before speaking, because you're not afraid of the space. It's in your posture, your breath, your calmness. You don't chase her energy, you anchor it. That's why she can't forget you. Here's a truth most men never learn. Women aren't only attracted to what you say, they're attracted to how they feel when they're around you. Do they feel anxious because you're unsure of yourself? Or do they feel grounded because you're unshakable? Do they feel bored because you're predictable? Or do they feel alive because you're deeply present? Attraction isn't built in her head, it's built in her body, and presence is the key that unlocks it. So, when was the last time you walked into a room and owned it with your energy alone? Not by being the loudest, not by showing off, but by simply existing with undeniable presence. If you can't remember, then this is the skill you must master. Now you know the truth. Women in 2025 don't want the man who bends over backwards for attention. They don't want the man who hides his fire, who fears rejection, who fills silence with nervous words. What they crave is rare, a man who is certain of himself, a man who is unapologetically aligned with his mission, a man whose presence calms her storm while igniting her desire. That's the blueprint, and it's the only dating advice you'll ever need, because once you embody this, everything else becomes effortless. You stop overthinking texts, you stop obsessing over strategies, you stop chasing. Instead, women start choosing you, not because you tricked them, but because you finally became the man you were meant to be. But here's the warning. Most men will hear this and do nothing. They'll keep scrolling, keep numbing themselves, keep waiting for the world to hand them what they refuse to build. Don't be that man. You have a choice. Stay hidden or rise into the fire that sets you apart. If you rise, everything shifts. Your energy changes. Your standards change. The way women see you changes. You'll walk into rooms differently. You'll look into her eyes differently. You'll no longer be seeking approval. You'll be deciding who is worthy of yours. That shift is power. That shift is freedom. That shift is what makes a man unforgettable. And remember this, women don't fall in love with potential, they fall in love with presence. If you're waiting until you have more money, more status, more validation before you step into certainty, you'll wait forever. The time is now. Because the men who win in 2025 aren't the richest or the flashiest. They're the ones who finally understood that their value was never out there. It was inside them all along, waiting to be claimed. So I'll leave you with a question that only you can answer. Are you living like the man she desires or the man she forgets? Think about that and be honest. Drop your answer in the comments because I want to hear where you truly stand. And if this video woke something up in you, don't just keep it to yourself. Hit like, subscribe, and share this with a friend who needs to hear it today. Because the truth is, the world doesn't need more men pretending. The world needs more men on fire.